To begin, I wanted to provide a brief overview of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and the transportation facilities that we operate in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey was established by an act of the U.S. Congress in 1921 to undertake those transportation infrastructure projects that either state alone was unwilling or incapable of undertaking, or on which the states refused to cooperate. And that continues to this day. I'm sure you've read some of the media clips about what's going on down south. Our mandate is confined to a 25-mile radius around the Statue of Liberty, which is, 40 kilometers. I know, the United States, we fought and won our independence from Great Britain, but we're still enslaved to the British system of measurements, unfortunately. But the Port Authority can issue bonds, and we can collect user fees, but we collect no taxes, and we pay no taxes. 94 years later, we're still a self-supporting agency, and we're doing quite well. Okay, planes, trains, automobiles, ships, and real estate. That's what we're into. We have 5 airports, and I'll go into them in a little while. We have a Port Authority Trans-Hudson. It's a commuter railroad that connects New York and New Jersey, handles about 73 million passengers per year. We have seaports in both New Jersey and New York. We operate all of the connections, the bridges and tunnels between New York and New Jersey. That's an easy way to know if it's a Port Authority facility. Does it connect New York or New Jersey? If it does, it's ours. Among those are the iconic George Washington Bridge, the Lincoln and Holland tunnels. We have a bus terminal at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue in Manhattan. And last but not least, we're the landlord at the recently redeveloped World Trade Center complex. That was our headquarters prior to the Islamist attack in 2011 on 9/11. 2001, I'm sorry, on 9/11. And it's our headquarters right now. So we're very gratified to be back home. Now, under the aviation department, we operate 5 airports with a consulting agreement for support at a 6th, as a system of facilities where each airport serves a unique and specific role. JFK, as many of you are familiar, is our international gateway for passengers and cargo. LaGuardia Airport is our premier short to medium haul airport with very convenient access to Manhattan. Now, one thing I want to point out at LaGuardia is that we can keep it as a short to medium haul type airport because we have had in place since 1984 a perimeter rule, which prohibits airlines from flying to destinations nonstop beyond 1,500 miles. Somebody else can convert that to kilometers. And then Newark in the middle is in New Jersey, and it's a kind of an all-purpose utility player. Serves international, transcon. It's a major hub for United Airlines. They have 70% of the traffic there. And it's also a major hub for small package cargo for both FedEx and UPS. Stewart Airport, I bet anybody know where that is? Or I didn't think so. Stewart was a former Air Force base. The Port Authority acquired it back in 2007. It sits 88 kilometers north of New York City. We purchased it back in '87 with the notion that it was buying capacity on the cheap. At the time, our airports were straining at the seams with demand, and we felt that purchasing this airport might give a relief valve for both Newark and LaGuardia with capturing passengers that live north of those 2 airports. Unfortunately, the economy did a significant downturn in 2008, and the passengers have declined since then by 2/3. We used to run 900,000 passengers in 2007 at its peak. Now we're down to 300,000 passengers. But with tremendous highway access with I-84 and the New York State Thruway, with a relatively congestion-free environment, and at low cost, we still think that Stewart is a promising airport and may serve us well in our system in the years to come. By the way, don't tell anybody, but we're thinking of renaming Stewart New York International Airport at Stewart Field. Don't tell anybody I said that. Atlantic City, we recently entered into a 15-year agreement to provide general management support services to the airport operator down there. We do not operate the airport. Rather, we give support when it comes to marketing and air service development. It's about 160 kilometers south of New York City, so it's questionable whether that fits into our system or not. But that was the decision made, and we live with it, and we try to do the best we can to promote service down at Atlantic City as a gateway to southern New Jersey. Teterboro Airport, extremely important player in our airport system. It is a general aviation reliever airport that sits just across the Hudson River from Manhattan, and it's less than 10 miles north, or 10 kilometers rather, north of Newark Liberty. In 2014, Teterboro handled 162,000 operations. That's about 12% of the traffic that uses our airports. It plays a vital role in our airport system. It accommodates the general aviation airplanes that would otherwise use Kennedy, LaGuardia, Newark, and take up valuable runway capacity. And so we desperately need to keep Teterboro as a thriving airport. And in fact, it does serve the high-end general aviation community. Fortune 500 companies, their CEOs fly in there, and it has tremendous access to Manhattan as well. Now, to preserve Teterboro's role in our airport system, we instituted a 100,000-pound rule. What's that, 43,000 kilograms, is that right? Years ago, and we prohibit any scheduled airline service in and out of Teterboro. In deference to the community, we have a very robust noise abatement program there. We have noise abatement, or I'm sorry, a departure noise limit at the end of the runways. If a user violates the rule twice in a row, they're liable to be banned from the airport. We also have a voluntary curfew in effect from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So in recent years, we're setting passenger records every year, and we fully expect traffic to grow from the 120 million system-wide this past year to 180 million by the year 2034. Unfortunately, with that kind of growth, given the current state of our infrastructure, our airfields, our terminals, our on-airport roadways, our airport access, our utility systems, we're not going to do it. We're not going to meet that demand. And so significant investment is needed over the next 10 years if we're going to meet the demand for air transportation. This chart just gives you a sense of where our customers are going to and coming from, and on whose airlines they're flying. You'll note that Toronto, in the middle there, you'll note that Toronto ranks only behind London as our top international market. In fact, of the 4 million passengers who fly between Canada and New York, half of them come from either Pearson or Billy Bishop. This chart simply shows my vision for the airport system, and key is highlighting, or highlighted is the key word there, integrated. This chart, anybody know what this is? It shows a single day of takeoffs and landings from Kennedy, LaGuardia, Newark, and Teterboro, about over 4,000 takeoffs and landings. That's just in a single day. Considering overflights of the region, transiting aircraft, it would be 7,000 flights per day. And because we operate under probably what's the busiest airspace in the world, we need to operate as a system, and that's important for efficiency purposes. I was interested to read a recent article from the Toronto Star quoting Mr. Kanwar, which speaks to the concept of regional airports operating as a system. Now, he mentioned specifically Billy Bishop and Buffalo along with Pearson, and I know that the GTAA isn't the governing body for those airports, but yet he has the vision to see that Maybe we have to cooperate, maybe in an informal way, to come up with a system that will more efficiently handle the growth. So the Port Authority system has worked quite well for us financially. Last year, the Port Authority airports brought in $2.5 billion in revenue. That's 60% of the Port Authority's, the entire agency's revenue. It's a job and wealth-creating machine. We support over 500,000 jobs, and we generate almost $80 billion in annual economic activity. That's more than the gross state product of 13 individual U.S. states. So I don't say that to brag. I just want to point out the economic and social importance of airports in our society. So going forward, the priorities that I've set for my aviation department is to fulfill my vision. That is to meet the demand for air transportation, both cargo and passengers, going out over the next 30 years. We have to handle 180 million passengers, and we have to revitalize our cargo business. We have major terminal replacement projects underway at both LaGuardia and Newark. And while they're not in our capital plan, truth be known, Kennedy is going to require significant investment over the next 10 years for cargo and terminal development. Slots are a major obstacle to our growth. We're currently limited in the number of hourly takeoffs and landings by the federal government at Kennedy, LaGuardia, and Newark. And we think that this limit is set artificially low. It essentially is hanging a no vacancy sign at our airports, and it's putting a cap on our growth. We think that's unacceptable, and we're working very hard to convince the FAA to lift the number of slots at our airports. PFCs, passenger facility charges in the United States, it is legislated by Congress that we can collect $4.50 per departing passenger as a means to invest in capacity-enhancing projects at our airports. Unfortunately, that $4.50 was passed 15 years ago. With the ravages of inflation, we'd have to collect $8.50 per departing passenger today just to keep up with inflation. We have major unmet needs in our capacity program. We need that PFC hike desperately. Okay, the Port Authority recently announced a $27 billion capital plan, of which aviation gets $8 billion. It's a nice start, but it certainly isn't sufficient for our needs. In that $8 billion, we have a central terminal building replacement program at LaGuardia Airport. It was built in 1964, designed for 8 million passengers. Today it handles 12 million, albeit at a relatively poor level of service. And we have to handle 17.5 million passengers by the year 2030. The current building is not up to the task. And right now we're on the 2-yard line for awarding a contract to a private firm to demolish the existing central terminal building, then design, build, operate, finance, and maintain a new central terminal building. We're hoping that we can proceed with that here in the next 2 months. This simply shows the division of work between our private partner and the Port Authority. This shows Terminal B, the new Terminal B, what it possibly could look like. We also have beyond a $3.6 billion replacement of the central terminal building at LaGuardia. We have also planned a $1.9 billion replacement of Terminal A at Newark Liberty International Airport. With LaGuardia, we're going the PPP route, the public-private partnership, but at Newark, we may not. It may be better for us to go the traditional design, bid, build route and operate and maintain, which would bring more revenue to the Port Authority. So we'll see. The jury's still out on that one. I mentioned Kennedy. It handled a record 54 million passengers this year. In 20 years, it's got to handle 75 million passengers. We need terminal development as well at JFK. Tremendous amount of investment. You're approaching LaGuardia Airport and what could be the new central terminal building. Here you're traveling from east to west, And the Grand Central Parkway is right below you there. On the right, we have our new 1,100 space parking garage, which is going to open in June, and a central electric substation, a brand new electric substation to serve the airport. You can see coming into view the brand new central terminal building facade. That is the air traffic control tower that was built in 2010. On your right now, you'll see a 3,000 space west garage. And the view now is looking from west to east. Now, this is me driving. So, but you're traveling westbound on the Grand Central, and you're going to now get off and take a flyover to the new LaGuardia Airport. And these people ahead of me are from Jersey, so I'm just going to pass them. On the left, again, the central electric substation, a central heating refrigeration plant, and 1,100 space garage. We're trying to incorporate a uniform facade, so it'll have that campus look, and we think it's going to look really neat if we get the right developer in there to build the new terminal. And again, here you're heading east, and you're starting to loop around back to the west to approach the new central terminal building. This is a connector from the east garage over to Terminal C, which is Delta's existing terminal. Some very happy customers there. Diverse. And now you're passing Terminal C on your right, which is Delta. The garage on your left. And coming into view will be the new central terminal building, or what it could look like. And you see the Manhattan skyline there off to the left, and a nighttime view. So hopefully when this terminal is built, the challenge is that the private developer is going to have to demolish, build, and operate 35 gates simultaneously. It's a tall order. We'll see. We're depending upon the innovation and the creativity of private industry to help us with this. And when it's finished, completely finished in 2021, we think that we'll have a jewel of a facility to serve the demand at LaGuardia Airport for the coming decades. Now, hopefully Joe Biden will then change his tune and not call us a third world airport. I don't know what it is about people. Donald Trump complained about us. Joe Biden, it must have something to do with bad hair pieces. I don't know. No, I love those guys. Please don't tell anybody. I love them. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.